Silverstown today, the John Player British Grand Prix took place. Britain's most prestigious motorsporting event in the calendar year. And what a Grand Prix it was. One of the finest that I've ever seen. A very confused Grand Prix, with 26 of the world's best racing drivers not really competing against themselves as much as the elements. The race started in dry conditions. It then got wet, and a fast drying wind dried the circuit. Then, at the end of the race, torrential rain came again. A race with many lead changes, an incredible event. Let's go back almost 5 hours to the start of the race as I saw it. Well, of course, the moments before a start like this is very nerve-wracking for the racing drivers. They've got to be cool, they've got to be calm and collected. There's not the possibility of getting overexcited at this time. They've got to look out for their clutch, because in the French Grand Prix, Tom Price, who you're looking at right now with his Welsh dragon there in his helmet, had a clutch problem and in fact lost an opportunity for a victory even there. Now he's on pole position. What a tremendous achievement. Alongside him there is the Brabham, and they're revving up their engine, 8,500 rev. Patchy got a wonderful start. It looks to me like Patchy's got a head advantage. He's certainly got an advantage as they come to Cop's corner, the first right-hand corner, and Patchy's in the lead with the Martini Brabham, followed by Tom Price and then the Ferraris. The field very full. There's a car slowly accelerating at the back of the field there. And round we come towards Beckett's corner now, the Brabham in the lead with the UOP Shadow second, the Ferraris following them. The full pack there, as you can see, entering one of the slowest corners, going through Beckett's corner now, the Brabham. Then third is Regazzoni and fourth is Lauda. There's a lot of moving and shoving around at the back there. Emerson Fittipaldi didn't get a particularly good start there, so he's got to find his way through. You can see them weaving in the slipstream. There's Regazzoni pulling out in car number 11, trying to get past Price, and they're going round Stowe almost side by side. I don't think he got him, however. A lot of shuffling going on. No, Price is still in second place. The Ferraris trying to take advantage. That's Niki Lauda on the outside of Regazzoni, but he hasn't gone through. The two Ferraris shuffling around with James Hunt immediately behind him. As they go around Club Corner in this first lap, you can see an advantage already appearing with Carlos Paci in the lead, with Tom Price in second place. They've opened up a gap because the other drivers behind them, the two Ferraris, are shuffling around. Now they're coming into the chicane in the first lap. This is where there could be troubles in this first lap when the tyres are not really warm. James Hunt in the white car tucked in behind the Ferraris, just going out of the screen with Jody Scheckter behind him. The car's coming through there in orderly position. No drama in the first lap. Tom Price is closed up on the Brabham. The Ferrari of Regazzoni is third, with Niki Lauda fourth, and James Hunt pushing very hard as they got the end, the first lap, and start their second lap, entering Beckett's. Back to Murray Walker.
So, and although it may sound contentious, out went the yellow flag, and it was expected at the bridge just before the chicane on the first lap only, and that meant hold your positions in order to avoid any possibility of a catastrophic pile-up in the chicane. And now they're coming down Hanger Straight, this 170-mile-an-hour stretch, well over 10,000 RPM, and it's a Cosworth Ford V8 engined car in the lead, and another one in second place. That is to say, Carlos Paci from Brazil in the Martini Brabham leads the Welshman Tom Price, number 16 in the UOP Shadow. Pace, number 8. Then the two Ferraris, and it's Regazzoni from Switzerland, number 11, followed by Niki Lauda, number 12, in fourth position. Up from Club to Abbey, and James Hunt is moving up. There is James Hunt as he goes round the left-hander at Abbey, down towards Woodcote again, and you'll see them come under the bridge and then into the chicane, and it's Pace from Brazil, number 8 in the Martini Brabham. And he flicks it right. This is a third gear bend, then left again, and it's Regazzoni in third position, Lauda fourth, Jody Scheckter fifth, James Hunt is in sixth position, then it's Emerson Fittipaldi in seventh position, and Mario Andretti in the Vels Parnelli car is in eighth position.
Emerson Fittipaldi, the number one car there as you go through Abbey Curve, has displaced James Hunt and has now got his sights set on Jody Scheckter in lap number 10. This is a good start for Emerson Fittipaldi. He obviously didn't do well to begin with, but is certainly making up ground. But look, he's been passed. Price has been passed by Clay Regazzoni. While we were looking at the other two cars, they're in Club Corner now, and Clay Regazzoni is in second place in the Ferrari. Now he's got to head towards the number one position of Carlos Paci. Tom Price, there may be a slight problem in Tom's car because he's slowing down a little bit. But Regazzoni in the number 11 car, then Tom Price, then Nicky Lauda's putting pressure through the new chicane at Silverstone on Tom Price, Jody Scheckter. But there you have the second place car, number 11. Number 16 is Price. Number 12 is the Nicky Lauda Ferrari, as you see them streaming through there. Nicky Lauda, at this time, leading the World Championship in points. A driver of great maturity, probably the most improved driver over the last 18 months. But the lead has stretched by Carlos Paci, probably because of the passing manoeuvre. It's probably a false lead that he has here, and I think you'll see Regazzoni starting to catch up Carlos Paci and the Martini Brabham.
35-year-old Clay Regazzoni in the Ferrari has already won 2 Grand Prix in his career. He used to be famous as a wild man that was involved in a lot of crashes, particularly in his Formula 2 days. But now he's settled down. He has driven for BRM. He's driven for Ferrari before he returned to them after leaving the BRM team. He's 1.2 seconds behind the Brazilian number 8 Carlos Paci, or was at the end of the previous lap, which was lap 10. They are on lap 11 now. Regazzoni using all the torque and the superb handling of that 12-cylinder Ferrari as they come down to the chicane on lap 11. And let's see what the gap is now. As they go into the chicane, it's just 0.3 of a second. Tom Price third. Lauda is closing up on him. Scheckter is fifth. The world champion Emerson Fittipaldi is in 6th position. James Hunt is 7th, and Tony Bryce is in 8th position. So British drivers, and there is Hunt, number 24. Behind him, Tony Bryce. Here are the leaders: Pace, Regazzoni, Price, Lauda, Scheckter, Emerson Fittipaldi, James Hunt. There is Tony Bryce, very tall in the cockpit. He's about 6'3", and they go round Beckett's now, onto Maggots, down again the hangar straight. This is the 12th lap, and Carlos Paci, the man who won in Brazil, is out to try again. And there, Tom Price is back into 2nd position. Tom Price in 3rd position, and Lauda is closing right up on him, with Regazzoni still in 2nd place and closing up on Paci. So it's as they come up towards Club Corner, and the right-hander which leads slightly uphill to Abbey. Number 8, Pace, leads number 11, Regazzoni, who got past Price, you remember. Price in 3rd position, Nicky Lauda behind him, and so a challenge, Jackie Stewart.
Yes, I think you're going to see Clay Regazzoni taking this lead in a few laps' time. He's certainly closing the gap in Carlos Paci, and I think within 2, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 laps, he's going to pass the Brabham. In the same way, I think Nicky Lauda is going to pass the UOP shadow car of Tom Price. I think you're going to see a change of lead. Before the race, funnily enough, I forecast that Clay Regazzoni was going to win this Grand Prix, and maybe that's what's going to happen. The number 11 car, the red prancing horse, Ferrari. Obviously, they haven't doing too well. And Tony Bryce is coming into the pits. He was catching James Hunt. This is a great shame for him. He's been driving very well. Car number 23, the Embassy Hill, coming into the pits. Young Tony Bryce, been doing very well all season, been coming straight out of Formula 3. And there he comes to a stop. The Embassy Hill mechanics, Graham Hill, bending over, talking to him, getting the information that he needs. It looks like there's something wrong with the rear suspension. They're checking it. There's obviously an unstable feeling. A racing driver can't take a risk at times like this, because if a wheel were to fall off or a suspension part were to bend in some way, he could have a serious accident.
And it's starting to rain. Now this is tremendously significant, because it means that as the 2nd, third, and Jody Scheckter is taking Paci. Jody Scheckter is moving up into 3rd position to take Carlos Paci, and we're going to see some tyre changes soon.
And he's done it. Jody Scheckter's passed Carlos Paci. He's got through there. Now the reason for this is that Jody is really going aggressively into a situation of taking advantage of the rain. The rain that's coming on, I can see it on the far side of the circuit, and Regazzoni is in the pits. Regazzoni's in the pits. The leader is in the pits. This must be a dreadful disappointment to him. I don't know what he's doing. They're looking at the back end. There's something not right there. They're looking at the rear aerofoil. They're adjusting something there. There's something being damaged. They're pulling off part of the rear aerofoil. But this is a very costly one.
With the wing absolutely bent. And as you can see, Regazzoni has switched the engine off. The wing is bent. It really is torn off here. The Ferrari mechanics wrestling with cutters, rolling the car back. A tragedy for Regazzoni, the man who hasn't won a Grand Prix since the German Grand Prix last year. What a blow to the Ferrari team.
And so it's Tom Price now leading the Grand Prix, the John Player Grand Prix of 1975 on lap 20 in this 67-lap event. You see him with the news that there is rain falling on the far side of the course, in which case we're going to see tyre changes, and that's going to be tremendously dramatic. The Brabham team changed in about 13 seconds yesterday, but the Tyrrell team was even quicker on the special contest that they had. But Tom Price now will be anxious to extend his lead as much as he possibly can, albeit on these smooth, slick tyres. So Tom Price leading. In second position now, it's Jody Scheckter, who's gone up from 5th to 2nd in just 2 laps. In third position, it's Carlos Paci in the Martini Brabham. Fourth behind him, Nicky Loud, and there goes, look at that, Jackie Stewart, you saw that.
That's an accident for Tom Price. It's coming out of the corner there. He slid off. He slid off into the barrier there. I think Tom's okay. It didn't look a serious accident. It looked as if the aerofoils and things like that flew off the car. But the marshals immediately, these wonderful marshals who have won the World Championship of marshalling almost for the last 3 years, that's a situation that look at the marshals holding their hand up. They're okay, standing saying that Tom Price is all right. Just as the Welsh flag was flying there, but the circuit is very slippery now. They've got to come into the pits. Now down to Barry in the pits.
And as you can see, although they're still wrestling with that wing, the Ferrari team are making the most of this pit stop. They've changed onto wet tyres. Only other one car has done this, that's Tony Bryce. So Regazzoni, when they mend that wing at the back, will be going out on rain tyres. And the rain now is absolutely lashing down on the pits, and everybody is going to have to come in.
There is Jarier, the leader, in the UOP shadow. James Hunt behind him in the Hesketh, not the new one, of course, which is here at the circuit. Jarier comes down underneath the bridge into the chicane, and he's certainly, if he is on wet tyres, going through to take another lap. Let's take a very close look at them. Yes, he is on wet tyres, I'm sure. And the gap now between Jean-Pierre Jarier and James Hunt, the battle is on. James Hunt is only 4 seconds behind. And Emerson Fittipaldi, there is James Hunt, number 24. And there is Emerson Fittipaldi, number 1, 4 seconds behind James Hunt. There is Carlos Paci, 3 seconds behind Emerson Fittipaldi. There is Depailler, and there is Jochen Maas, who is in 5th position. That is John Watson, who has been lapped. And there is Jody Scheckter in 6th place. So, what a race this is going to be now. Because the big question is, can Jean-Pierre Jarier on wet weather tyres hold off the white Hesketh of James Hunt, who is coming down into the hangar straight with Emerson Fittipaldi right behind him. We have done over half distance, 34 laps out of 67, and James Hunt is closing up.
James Hunt's obviously aware that he's closing up very quickly. It's an optical close-up right now. He's right behind the black car. He can see him. The man I think is going to close up on James Hunt is Emerson Fittipaldi. And if I had to gamble again, I would have to say that Emerson Fittipaldi is the man we might be seeing getting the British Grand Prix. But in fact, they've closed right up now. James Hunt really closing up. Jean-Pierre Jarier has to come into the pits, if not on this lap, on the next lap, because his tyre performance is definitely going to go up. And he comes into the pit. And James Hunt is going to take the lead as he comes out of this chicane in the British Grand Prix, the John Players Grand Prix, and the crowd are going wild. Umbrellas in the air, people waving. An enormous cheer from the Woodcock Grandstand. His local boy, our local team, comes out well. The number 24 car, James Hunt, the Lord Hesketh car, without any sponsorship on the car, a very puritanical motor car in white, as he comes round through in the entrance to Beckett's Corner here.
And first time on the leaderboard, Vittorio Brambilla, who was so very fast in practice in the March. But there is the battle, first, second and third, with about 5 seconds spanning them. In the lead, James Hunt, 24 in the Hesketh. Right behind him, Fittipaldi coming down the fastest part of the course and out of Hunt's slipstream, and he's going to try and take him, and he's going to do so at Stowe. And Emerson Fittipaldi, the world champion in the Texaco Marlborough car, with a magnificent passing manoeuvre, demonstrating skill, experience and an enormous amount of courage, has gone into the lead of the John Player Grand Prix for the first time. Now, unless we have rain, it could well be that it's all over bar the shouting, although there's a lot of racing to be done. because Fittipaldi, having forced his way through, is going to take an enormous amount of displacing, and Pache is closing up on Hunt. So we complete now lap 44, and the gap between Fittipaldi and Hunt, with Fittipaldi now in the lead, is 1 second as they come down to Copse Corner, the right-hander, which is a third gear, 120-mile-an-hour bend. And there, that's Stuck. I think that's Hans Stuck, yes. Hans Stuck, who's got caught up in the catch netting. And you can see there is one of the new safety precautions at Silverstone. Rows and rows of wire netting supported by light poles, and they really do have an incredible arresting effect on motor cars. And he is leading on lap 53 by 2 2/10 seconds. Number 1, Emerson Fittipaldi in the Texaco Marlboro car, shaping up to win his second Grand Prix of 1975, having won the first Grand Prix of the year in the Argentine. And he is in third position in the World Championship. There is the battle between Hunt and Scheckter. And again, Jody Scheckter will try and come out of the slipstream of James Hunt. Maybe he'll do it a little earlier this lap, but he's done it. He's done it. Jody Scheckter is through into third position. So, and look at the way now, he's already starting to streak away from James Hunt as on lap 53 in, I remind you, this 67 lap race, another 14 laps to go, and they are each 2.9 miles long. Jody Scheckter, who started, of course, on dry tyres, who went on to wet tyres, and who led the race from lap 27 until lap 32, until he had to go in and change his tyres again, and then rejoin the race in 6th position, back into 5th, and then into 4th, and then he's got past James Hunt into 3rd position, and now the only 2 cars in front of him are those of Emerson Fittipaldi and Carlos Pache. Emerson Fittipaldi is leading Pache by 3 2/10 seconds. And the gap between Carlos Pache, number 8, in 2nd position, and Jody Scheckter, number 3, is 8 seconds. And there is Scheckter coming into Copse with Hunt behind him in 4th place. In 5th position behind James Hunt now, it's Vittorio Brambilla in the March. In 6th position, it is Mark Donoghue. In 7th position, it's Jarier, who has fought his way back. In 8th position, it's Jochen Maas, and in 9th position, it's Tony Bryce. Emerson Fittipaldi then, down the fastest part of the course, the 170-mile-an-hour hanger straight on lap 54. Now, can Jody Scheckter catch back any of those 8 seconds from Pache in front of him? Jackie?
The only way that he's going to catch that time back is if we have more rain. I see rain at the far end of the circuit now, and that's where it arrived from the last time. Emerson Fittipaldi is obviously looking at the weather conditions as well. He's trying to get the biggest cushion he can get. He doesn't drive as quickly, I don't think, in these changing conditions as, for instance, Jody Scheckter might drive, because Jody, the car you're looking at now, number 3, the blue Elf Tyrrell Ford, in fact, he's a very aggressive driver. Now, I see that rain coming up from Beckett's Corner, and the place you're liable to see rain arriving from is Beckett's and Stowe. This is the other side of the circuit you're looking at, the new chicane where Jody Scheckter's going through there. He's sliding through. He's 7 seconds behind Carlos Pache. He's closed up over a second on that lap. He's obviously fighting his way through, this young driver who's done so well from South Africa for Ken Tyrrell, the man who took my position in the Tyrrell team. You can see the umbrellas are up. You can see them there. The spectators, look at the umbrellas. They're going up very quickly. Emerson Fittipaldi, well, he must be really shaking at this time because he knows that he doesn't have much of a cushion. This, to a racing driver, is a psychological aspect. It's very important. And look at the spray. There was some spray on the tyres down going into Stowe. It's raining at Stowe. Look at the tyres glistening. And look at the clouds and look at the wind. The wind is blowing in the direction from where the clouds are. Lord Hesketh walking across there, preparing his mechanics to come in for a wheel change. Lord Hesketh masterminding this with Bubbles Horsley, the team manager. It sounds like something out of a Biggles book, but there they are, and Emerson Fittipaldi's back onto the dry part of the circuit now. This 3-odd-mile circuit round, and there's somebody having a problem. A car's going into the catch fence right in front of the pits there. We can see it. Nobody's injured. It's Jean-Pierre Jarry climbing out of the car, number 17. He's perfectly all right. It's the changing weather conditions that's done it. Look at how efficient the marshals are. These marshals that have won all of those championships from the GPDA over the last 3 years. Jarry getting out the car, stumbling out the car. He doesn't look as if he's very steady. He's had a knock on the head, probably from one of the poles, but it would have been a lot worse had he in fact hit something more solid. Jean-Pierre Jarry, but there you have the leader, Emerson Fittipaldi. He's lifting up his visor. He's having his visor steam up. He's having difficulty in visibility. My goodness, what are they going to do? Are they going to come in for a quick wheel change? Emerson's going very cautiously and very slowly round the corner right now. You can see how carefully he's going. He's still in the lead. Look at him lifting his visor. You see him putting up his right hand to lift his visor. It's steaming up. Visibility, of course, is enormously important for a racing driver. And in these changing conditions, not only has he had to have visibility, as you can see him now. Look at him lift his hand up there. He's going in. He's got to worry about the aquaplaning. If there's a deep pool of water there, these slick tyres that they run only on the dry cannot accommodate that. And look at the spray. Visibility is almost impossible. If you're behind a car, you cannot see more than 20 metres or 20 yards in front of you. You're just following the tyre marks on the road. We're above the cars. We're getting the opportunity of looking down through the spray, but the drivers at the same trajectory are having a lot of trouble. There are many cars coming into the pits. There's cars sliding all over the road. This is a situation which is very critical, with only a matter of 11 laps to go. And Fittipaldi, is he coming into the pits? He is coming into the pits. Emerson Fittipaldi, the leader, is coming into the pits. He's on the pit lane, and look, we've had an accident, a multi-car accident, and James Hunt has spun and crashed into the other cars. He's crashed into the car number 19, who of course is Morgan. There's a few. Jody's in there. Jody's crashed as well. He's come out of it. Jody's walking out of it, Morgan's out of it, everybody's out of it. You can see the BRSCC marshals there, that everybody's on the business there. And there's another car, Wilson Fittipaldi. This is aquaplaning, this is the problem. Fittipaldi's in the pits, remember. The leader, Emerson Fittipaldi's gone into the pits. The pits look like Piccadilly Circus. Emerson Fittipaldi is leaving the pits. Wheel spin as he goes out on dry tyres. Now he, therefore, is in a very strong position. Carlos Paci we don't know about. They're trying to. There's many problems there. You can see the troubles in there. There's another car stopped. That's Watson stopped. Number 2 car of Mass stops as well. Goes into the chain link fencing. This is a problem for racing drivers. They just can't handle this heavy rain. There's the car number 28, the First National City Bank car of Mark Donoghue. He's okay. He's getting out of the car. They've got seat belts and everything else.
And it looks as though they are stopping the race. They have wisely decided to give it best in these appalling weather conditions. And Emerson Fittipaldi will undoubtedly, in that situation, be declared winner, having gone into the pits, changed to wet tyres. The ambulance is out on the course here at the start and finish point, and the course is perfectly clear, and they're spinning, as you can see, everywhere. And around the far part of the course, you have seen the cars going off. There is Tony Bryce, and that's Emerson Fittipaldi with the marshals frantically waving him down. And you can see now how utterly critical the right choice of tyre in conditions like this is. The yellow flags are out, the oil flags are out, everything is out. And we're looking down now as official cars go out onto the course, and great roosters of spray. There's one of the official British Leyland 1822 cars going out onto the course as Emerson Fittipaldi comes round towards Woodcote and the chicane, and it's going to be very interesting indeed to see what he does here into the chicane. And the race is stopped, the red flag is out, and Emerson Fittipaldi goes on. And so there we are then. Jackie Stewart, your comment.
The red flag is out. Emerson Fittipaldi's hand is in the air. The marshals are out with the yellow flag. The race has been declared stopped. Emerson's asking the marshal whether the race is finished. He says yes. Emerson will undoubtedly get out of his motor car right now. The sort of trouble that occurred there is a classical situation where the new slick tyres, and you can see from the airship there the commotion. That looks like Stowe Corner. I can't see exactly. It could be Beckett's. It could be Club. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Club. You can see all of the cars piled in there into the bank there, but the chain link fencing obviously did a great deal for everybody. It is Club Corner. The very heavy rain conditions obviously upset everybody, and it's now thunder rain back here at the start finishing line. And there you see Emerson Fittipaldi being presented by His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent with the British Grand Prix trophy, a beautiful Grand Prix trophy, all in gold.